Hello and Shabbat Shalom to you. That's working. I don't know. It is lovely to see you. We are back in the sanctuary. That roar was so loud. I could barely hear you over the roar of the excitement. Now that microphone was working. Thank you. Thanks. I never thought Cantor Munchik would want me to have sound on the microphone, but it was his call. So now he has amplified my speaking, and thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
So it's great to be back in our sanctuary. We hope that you all had wonderful summers and safe summers, and that you maybe traveled and escaped the heat and humidity of this blessed sunshine state. And so we are here, and so since this is the first time maybe you've ever been in here before, or the 100th time you've been in here before, we've never been together in this moment at this second. And so in a minute, we're going to continue with Shehachianu. But before, we should probably tell us who's standing up here. This is Cantor Muchnik over here. This is Rabbi Kahn over here. I'm Rabbi Keller, if you didn't know who we were. It's been a while, maybe since you've seen us. So I think we look great since the last time you've seen us. And so now that we're here in this moment together, we continue with Shechianu, thanking God for this very precious moment we celebrate together. This Shabbat is not just our first Shabbat back here in the sanctuary, but it is, we lovingly call it, when we come back to the sanctuary, back to shul. And so this is our back to shul weekend. And so here we are, Friday night. And since we're back to shul, we start with a bang tomorrow morning. We have Torah study at 8:30. We have the man bar mitzvah at 10. We have the mortis bat mitzvah at 5:30. And so we have a lot going on. And then Sunday, I'll talk about this more in the announcements. But on Sunday, we have our back to shul. It's with food trucks and what's the back to shul extravaganza with food trucks, and there's a water play for kids, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So there's a lot of beautiful stuff going on. We're going to continue with our service though with the lighting of Shabbat candles. If you don't know where the prayer book is, just reach right under your seat. It should be right there. We're hoping it's just reach right under. They're blue. They say Mishkan Tfilah on them. Please make sure that it says Shabbat on the front of the book and not weekday and festival. Hello to our live stream. We presume it's working. We checked it. We're happy that you're also joining us. You can also follow along with us. You can go to our website and see a virtual prayer book, cbiboca.org, top left corner. It says menu, and then scroll down a little bit. It'll say services, and then scroll down a little further, and it'll say virtual prayer book. You can follow along with us and pray along with us as we continue. So we're going to continue on to page 2 with the lighting of Shabbat candles, and we're going to bring up to help us light those Shabbat candles, Gabby, Haley, and Donna Mortis. And we're going to invite Barry too, because he's going to be up here too to do the Kiddush right after we do the candles. We're on page 2.
shanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. It's okay. I got it.
Okay. No, you did perfect.
Good
you did
save.
Beautifully.
That's a separate rider on my disability insurance.
No, yeah, stay. Everyone stay. So our candles are lit, and so Shabbat has officially started for us, even though the sun is up. But once you light Shabbat candles, we are in our midst now of 25 hours of enjoying Shabbat, so we can take a collective exhale from the week that has left us and move into what we hope will be a wonderful and sweet and happy, wonderful Shabbat together. We can further sweeten that Shabbat with the words of Kiddush, which can be found on page 5. And Barry Mortis is going to be doing our Kiddush for us on this Erev Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kadshecha, be'ava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
So now that our candles are lit and we're fully within our presence of Shabbat for the next 25 hours, we're going to officially invite the Shabbat bride into our midst with Kabbalat Shabbat. We'll be continuing now with Lecha Dodi, which is on page 20 and 21. 20 and 21. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. 1, 2, 5, and 9, and when we get to the little 9th stanza on page 21, we'll be standing and facing the door to welcome in the Shabbat bride. We continue now with Lecha Dodi on page 20.
במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת לקבלה התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי שידברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת לקבלה chala, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
She's here. I feel her. The Shabbat bride is in our midst, and we are ready to turn to page 26 for the Hatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון, ולחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מהמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ואמרו Amen.
We invite all who are able to please rise for our call to worship. Baruch Hu is on page 28. Invite you to remain standing as we turn to page 31 and join together on the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue on pages 34 and 35. L'Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We turn to page 39. And once we are on 39, we read responsively on the bottom half of the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
High heavens declare your glory, may earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue the work of the day, and the nations will be one at peace. Then shall we rejoice, as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא עושה, נורא עושה, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. So nighttime in our house is a special time, a sacred time. And before bed, my family and I pray that God will help us by keeping our bodies healthy and comfortable, by allowing our minds to be at ease, and by keeping our whole family safe. We ask God to grant us the ability to rest after a long day of work and worry, to give us the chance to let our souls feel free from all that weighs them down, and that God will give us the grace to know how to separate from the things we cannot control. We ask God to help us know that it's okay to let go, to breathe, to just be. We do this with the Hashkivenu prayer, which can be found on pages 42 and 43.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzitzeinu לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzitzeinu לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim.
We are so joyful we are here and that it is Shabbat. We sing on page 44, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתולם.
It is time now to open up our lips and pour out our hearts with our centerpiece prayer of our worship service. We invite all who are able to please rise as we continue with our Amidah. We begin together on pages 46 through 52.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot, Umevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid HaTal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Mimit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
And then we continue on our own through page 62, praying silently and having a seat when we are finished.
We continue at the bottom of page 62. I'm not sure if you're a fan, but at my house, we are avid followers of America's Got Talent. Any other fans of America's Got Talent? Thank you. All right, a couple of people. I mentioned this to someone the other day, and someone said, it's still on? And so it is, it's still on. And we are avid followers. We follow usually every episode all the way through, and we get very excited, and it's very dramatic. But one of the best things about AGT, those of us who watch it all the time, we call it AGT, because we have a relationship with the show. So the nice thing about AGT is that one of the things that we love about AGT is the magic. If you're into magic, any people magic people, more hands for magic than AGT. Fine, good. And so the magic part is actually really, really cool, and it's often amazing in these elaborate moments with this full stadium of people, essentially. And it's always amazing how they can make something disappear, right? They're showing cards or they vanish, and it's no sleeves, and the motion of it, the disappearing acts are, for me, the most interesting when we watch AGT. So I want you to think about this idea of disappearing and disappearing acts for a second. Not just AGT, but the idea of disappearing, because it fits pretty nicely into this week's Torah portion. So we're in the book of Deuteronomy. We're in the last book of the Torah. It's part of the 37-day-long speech that Moses is giving to the Israelites. He's almost at the conclusion of that speech, and when the speech is over, Moses is going to die at the age of 120. And so we're really getting closer and closer, and so we get to the Torah portion called Ki Tetzeh, which means when you go out, meaning when you go out to engage the world. And there's a lot of intricate, cool details about the Torah portion. I mean, I find them cool. I'm a rabbi, so they're really cool details. One of them actually talks about the basis of interest, meaning how you take interest on an item. If you loan something to someone, what does the interest look like? All the rules for interest on here. So if you're into money or banking and you're here in the congregation, some of the origins of interest all come from here. The next is this beautiful idea of you have to pay your employees on time, no matter what. This is in this week's Torah portion. It even goes on to say, even if you're not going to have enough money for the end of the week, it doesn't matter. You have to take care of your employees. That's in this week's Torah portion. There's another cool thing called the parapet. We know what a parapet is? It's like a little fence that sits on your roof, and it's there actually to protect if someone goes up on your roof, then they can't fall off. But one of the coolest things about this week's Torah portion is actually about an ox. And the ox in this week's Torah portion is interesting because it connects to lost objects, which is a really cool part of the Torah portion. And by the way, it's so cool that the rabbis talk about it for so long that it falls into the Mishnah and other Jewish texts, and we get these laws on lost objects. And so one of the lost objects is your ox. And so the sentence says, when you see another's ox or sheep that is lost, you should not remain indifferent. Does that make sense? Nod if you're conscious. Good, okay. So, right. So if you see another's ox or sheep that is lost, you shall not remain indifferent. That means you should take care of the ox or the sheep. It's your responsibility. You can't be like, it's not my sheep, it's not my ox, don't care. That doesn't work. The Torah says you can't do that. It goes on to elaborate, by the way, that if it's several days you have to take care of the ox or of the sheep, you have to take care of the ox. You have to feed it. You have to feed it and clean it and take whatever care you have to. You take care of this ox or the sheep. But the most interesting word that I want to mention to you is the word indifferent. Because in Hebrew, it doesn't say indifferent. In almost all the translations I checked, it says indifferent, but the Hebrew doesn't say that. The Hebrew actually says, you may not remain indifferent, but the literal translation of that word is, you may not disappear, is what it says. It means you may not suddenly feel like this is not my responsibility. You're not allowed to disappear from it. Sort of like the magic trick, because that's just a magic trick. But the Torah portion this week tells us that it's our obligation as a Jewish community to not vanish, especially when something gets difficult. Sometimes taking care of an ox is difficult, but it goes on to develop itself, and this is where I have to give a lot of credit to my rabbinic colleague who has some of good language in this Torah portion. Rabbi David Wolpe, who is now the Rabbi Emeritus, actually, of Sinai Temple in Los Angeles. And so I want to thank him for some of the views on here. And he goes on to take that language, and then he opens it up to talk about ways that we disappear, ways that we vanish, ways that we actually start looking away. So if the ox shows up, one thing we can do is pretend we don't see it. It's not my responsibility. You know what? Someone else is going to take care of the ox. Someone else will take care of that sheep. It's not my responsibility. I'm going to vanish from this situation. How many times have we seen acts of injustice, for instance, and we act in a way that we disappear? I don't want to deal with that. It's not my issue. How many times in our lives do we walk by someone or something or a situation in need and we say, you know what? I'm going to vanish from this situation. It's not my deal. I'm not going to deal with this. How often do we find these moments? And what the Torah portion is telling us is, don't disappear. It's our responsibility to show up. It's our responsibility to be there. It's our responsibility to not allow ourselves to vanish. It goes on to say, by the way, this text, the commentary says, it also means avoiding difficult things or difficult moments. Sometimes it's just easier to snake away from it. No, it's not my deal. But we're not allowed to do that. Rabbi Wolpe actually uses this quote and says, we say often, I can't. But really what we mean is, I won't. I can't right now. I can't. But usually it's, I just won't. It's not that important to me. I'm going to vanish instead. I'm just going to vanish. It's just easier. How many times do we vanish when there's hatred or there's bigotry or there's anti-Semitism and we think, it's terrible, but I'm just going to vanish from it. Someone else can deal with it. We are rapidly approaching the high holidays. We are way into the month of Elul, which is the month where we're supposed to be reflecting on how we did this past year and what we plan to do for the new year. And so this is not the time to vanish. This is not the time to think, I'm just going to lay low in these moments. We're supposed to actually show up. He actually, Rabbi Wolpe, plays on this concept of the word can't, C-A-N apostrophe T, can't, and then he switches it to C-A-N-T without the apostrophe. And if you know what the word can't is without an apostrophe, it means hypocritical. So when we say can't, sometimes that just means that we're being hypocritical in that moment. To say, you know what, I could show up, but I'm just not going to. I'm going to vanish instead. And so on this Shabbat of Ki Tetzeh, when we talk about lost objects, I invite all of us to reflect on ways that we may vanish and step away from moments that we really could be showing up. And by the way, when we vanish, it doesn't just hurt us individually, it hurts the entire community. Because it becomes evident that there were moments that we could have stepped up and helped, and yet we didn't, and we leave it to someone else, and then someone else doesn't do it, and someone else doesn't do it, and someone else doesn't do it, and then it turns into a communal problem. And so that's why it's so important that we show up. And so on this Shabbat, I leave you with this. We are very much needed. And please, let's not disappear. This is not a magic trick. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to take some time now to think of those in our community who are in need of healing, physical, spiritual, mental healing. We think as a congregation of Annie Rosenfield, Asher Ben Karen Fay, Barbara Newmark, Bonnie Kleinman, Daniel Bernstein, David Field, Dr. Elise Karnick, Evelyn Greenfield, Gary Baker, Gary Bandel, Harav Avraham, Ben Yehudit, Howard Kleinberg, Howard Rosenbluth, Ira Kafka, Itza Chana, Bella Batrifka, Janet Cohen, Diane Brownick, Stuart Benson, Cheryl Cutler, Joan Permit, Carol Porowich, Elliot Porowich, Giovanni Shambari, Randy Hirschhorn, Sarah Batsrifka, Stephen Tenner, Julian Middleman, Marcy Cheryl, Shlomo Yaakov Ben Dvora, Shlomo Yaakov ben Dvora Fradel, Harriet Ginsburg, Julius Rosenberg, Jerry Campbell, Robert Rosenberg, Tova Simcha bat Yosefa, Joshua Salad, Joan Seidman, J.R. Morano, Lillian Bushell, Lillian Rosenblatt, Mark Davis, Naomi Kirstein, Rachel bat Shoshana, Arena Fields, Richard Rosenbluth, Richard Schenkman, Diane Spiro, Robert K., Shari Martin, Shana Call, Shirley Kafka, Sloan Kasten, Tova bat Sarah ve'Ariel Lev, Zahava Golda bat Nechama, Lisa Bonaire, Ryan Seidman, Stanley Giddis, Eric Kupferberg, Beth Spector, Savitri Shambari, Roy Schwedelson, Elka Kayla, Miriam, Sarah bat Gittel Tova, Marcia Davis, Ruth Wiener, Mira bat Laser Vilea, Landon Lowe, Ellen Field, and David Field, Shmuela bat Fega, Nelson Soto, Lenore Freeman, David Schwartz. To those names, we had any name that you'd like to add at this time.
Mark Recklin.
Mishbeach can be found on page 253. We have some announcements for you on this fine Erev Shabbat of we are back, and so there are a lot of things to share with you. First of all, hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, your 100th time here, we want to talk to you and we want to schmooze with you. There'll be an oneg at the end of the service, so we want to be able to chat with you. If you are here, by the way, for your service attendance to join us because you're here to get a little sticker and some credit, just see us after the service and we'll make sure to get your name down so we give you credit for the service. So I wanted to mention that. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning in our chapel will be our Torah study and service. Rabbi Khan will be in there. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right. It's going to be great. And then tomorrow, like I mentioned, we have two B'nai Mitzvah. That's pretty great. We have the Mann family, 10 a.m., and then the Mortis family, Gabby, 5:30. Still, right? You're going to be there tomorrow? Hope so. So it's going to be really uncomfortable if you're not there. We're going to be really awkward if we're like, where's Gabby? It's going to be really weird. Join us, like I mentioned, for our annual Back to Shul, for food trucks, activities, information gathering, and a chance to reconnect and meet. The kickoff is Sunday from 10:30 to 1 p.m. And I think there are 4 food trucks or 5 food trucks. There's a pizza and an ice cream and an Asian one and a taco truck, I think, and I don't know. Cantor Muchnick has this acrobatic thing he's doing. We have a trapeze set up. He's going to be incredible. He's been working on the routine for months. There it was. Thank you. You're making him this. That was good.
You're still here.
Please. Still here. Didn't work. Didn't work. Join us to fill up these. We have blue bins all over the campus. So drop off school supplies and non-perishable items in these blue bins. They're near everywhere. You can also help us stock our little free pantry. You should know we are under officially this very cool and interesting and unfortunate, but it's something that we can do endeavor, which is in the south part of Israel, which is known as the 15-second zone, which is an area in the south of Israel that is unfortunately within 15 seconds of rocket fire from Gaza. There are small bomb shelters that are built on the side of the road in case you are actually in your car and you have to jump out and have a safe place to go. They're built all along the side of the road. And so we are actually going to purchase one of those bomb shelters on the side of the road in the south of Israel. And so it is $10,000 for us to raise here as a congregation. And so we want to mention that we'll be doing that. There's flyers in the lobby. There'll be flyers everywhere. There's a QR code. You can scan it. And any amount that you wish to give can be very helpful for us to build the bomb shelter that will be the one that we're going to sponsor, and it's going to be there in Israel with our name on it, and for us to be able to, as a congregation, to visit and to support Israel. And it's a very unfortunate situation, but a way that we can definitely support Israel. So I wanted to mention that. And also, we have, of course, you should save the date if you don't already know. August 31st, which is in a couple of days, is the day that tickets go on sale for Andy Cohen. And so Andy Cohen will be here on November 9th. It's not going to, as our executive director says, who's sitting right back there next to his beautiful wife, Debbie. She loves when I make sure and call her name out. She loves the attention. So make sure not just to say Shabbat Shalom to Steve, but also to Debbie, because Debbie really likes the attention. He likes to mention it's not going to be at the Taylor Swift level, probably, where people are going to be looking for tickets. But we do think in the first couple of days, the tickets might sell out. So there are really not that many tickets that are going to be available. So if you're interested in seeing Andy Cohen in this very space on the 9th, you should check, because the tickets go on sale on August 31st for members only. It's not until September 7th that tickets will be available to non-members. So I want to mention that. Of course, the most important thing of all is our Mahjong Club. And so if you want to join our Mahjong Club, please make sure to join us. The Mavens are right here, by the way. The Mahjong Mavens are right here. They're both, you're something. And then also please go to our website, because all the Hayhada information are on there. So if you need tickets for relatives or for anyone else. So those was the first set of announcements for you guys. I'm just kidding. That was a lot of announcements. I think I'm good. Cantor Munchnick, do you have anything you want to say? Never
Abracadabra?
Mind. Never mind. Anything you want to say? Really? Okay, great. Do you have any questions?
That's funny.
All right, great. You don't have any questions? All right, great. All right, we're going to begin to conclude our service now. Elena can be found on page 282. 282, and together we stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those who we have drawn into our hearts with our own zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing in the period of Shiva, the immediate 7-day mourning period. We think of Marvin Solomon Gottlieb. In the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, we think of Mark Hirschberg and ayortzais that occur for us this week. Riva Teicher, Vera Israel, Enid Demendoya, Esther Shaw, Sheila Rosenberg, Lloyd Bloom, Loretta Foster, Geraldine Gershon, Mary Chazen, Annie Smith, William Rosenberg, Frederica Berliner, Henry Rafin, Arthur Perkins, Marilyn Cohen, Zelda Weissman, Harvey Cohen, Robert Tankus, Barton Weissman, Robert Schwartz, Mary Reiner, Leah Kaminsky, Loretta Foster, Shepard Thurman, Julio Barrios, Sanford Dworkin, Lenore Siegel, Elise Stavsky, Stanley Rich, Benjamin Tanner, Elaine Dugoff, Nathan Honig, Marilyn Bickler, Moshe Lefkowitz, Abraham Myers, William Wolf Kagan. To those names, we had any name that you'd like to add. Kadisha Tov Mourners Kaddish 294. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Israel, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. We're going to do a little motzi in preparation for our service concluding soon, so that we can go into oneg.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Delicious. We're going to conclude our service with Filat Haderech, which can be found on page 345. 345.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy.
pray, Ribono Shalom, blessed are you, divine and infinite one, great guardian of the universe. We ask you to shower us with goodness and joy this Shabbat and always as we show up for ourselves and this community. And we pray, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Eternal God, give strength to your people and bless this community with peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.